All right. I thought it was going to give me a countdown. I don't think it did. I might have to edit this. All right. So this is my second interview on my show that doesn't quite have a name yet. It's basically a show for connecting my connections. So I love awesome people. And that's one of the coolest things about being a loan officer is getting to meet all the different people in the industry. And James Bausch, who I have on the show today, is somebody who has been awesome to work with and has really impressed me with how hard he works for his clients. And he's in a market that I wasn't sure. I guess I was a little bit surprised that I was going to be doing so much in the Warsaw area. I love Warsaw, but Wakarusa, Goshen, Elkhart up this way is where I know more people. So it's been awesome to meet James and to have him introduce me to a lot of people down there. So thanks for coming on, James.
Yeah, glad to be here with you. Thanks so much for the opportunity to chat.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know you're a busy guy. So, yeah, one of the things I wanted to start off by saying was, or by asking, I should say this, I'm hoping that people that watch this show can benefit from some of the questions that I'm asking you and just be inspired. Like maybe other realtors are watching it. They're just getting started out, or people who want to be realtors. But also, people who are thinking about buying or selling their home too, to maybe give them some tips. So as I was asking people, hey, what's a good, some good questions you would like me to ask a realtor, there was a theme among the questions, but one of the biggest ones that I'm hearing a lot is in this market, if people are trying to make offers, because I know it's a crazy market right now, obviously, I think everybody kind of knows that. What is something that you would tell or that you are telling your clients to position themselves to be like just a bright, shiny offer, like the absolute best offer, so it just jumps right out of the out of the envelope, so to speak?
Yeah, so specifically thinking of buyers making offers.
Yeah, buyers making offers, because I know it's so competitive. Like what's maybe a tip or two that you can help them so that the seller accepts their offer?
Yeah, so as an agent, and if I had an agent representing me, I like to find out what else is important to a seller. Okay, so obviously price is always important, and the seller's bottom dollar is typically the most important thing. But I like to find out, hey, is there anything else that's important to the seller that we can help out with? Maybe that's a certain closing date. Maybe that's a certain possession date. Anything else that might just make it easier for that seller. Another strategy is to, if you're financially able to, include some language about an overage for an appraisal. So let's say the appraisal comes back lower than the purchase price. If the buyer is in a position to say, hey, we'll pay $2,000 above an appraised value, that can kind of sweeten the deal, especially if people are having issues with appraisals coming back short.
Yeah.
And again, it shows you as a strong buyer too. It shows that you have the financial capability, wherewithal to purchase the house. If you've already agreed to a purchase price of, let's say 200 and it appraises at 195, you've already agreed to pay to 200,000. So go ahead and make sure your offer is a little bit stronger than 195. But again, see if you can find out any information about the seller situation to make it more attractive in that way. But obviously it does come down to bottom dollar, removing any contingencies that you can, making the contract as clean as you can. So those are a couple of ways that we try to help.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So I like that first one you said, because I mean, obviously everyone can say, well, the price, make sure that you hit top dollar. But I like what you said there as far as, so you're actually kind of becoming like a problem solver there then. So you're finding out what is big for this person. Maybe they have to move in a certain amount of time, right? So, or
maybe they want more time. Maybe they don't want to move for 60 days or 90 days. And maybe they want to do a delayed closing or a rent back, something like that, that would take the pressure off of their transition. And if you as the buyer have flexibility on your end, and not a lot skin off your back to be able to do that, offer it, or at least put it on the table to say, hey, we are flexible. We're coming from a position of strength, but also flexibility. And we want to work this out with you.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I like that a lot. That's really cool. So you're listening to basically how you can remove any barriers from, yeah, that's cool. I really like that. That's a good strategy. So another question that a lot of people were asking was, where do you see the prices going as far as in the housing market, like say maybe over the next 12 months?
Yeah. Well, I don't have a crystal ball. If I
Come
did,
on. Yes, you do.
we wouldn't be having this conversation if I did have a crystal ball. Uh, you know, boy, inventories is so tight. Um, and I think really that's what's driving values up, and making it difficult for everyone. Let's be honest. I mean, because most sellers are also buyers. And so it's making it difficult when it's come times for them to sell, or for them to buy rather. We can't predict national, you can't predict global economy. And real estate really is local. It's hyper local. We looked at the Great Recession in 2007, 8, 9. I mean, Kosciuszko County compared to Elkhart County, there's a vast difference there, right? So, and I'm getting to your answer in a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah. Just even from county to county, there was, huh?
Yeah, there's a big difference. I mean, look at the
Wow.
foreclosure rate from one area to another. So, where do I see home values going? I think we're going to continue to see them increase. Now, if for some reason interest rates start to go up, then that may slow some stuff down. It may slow the buyer demand to some degree, because buyers are very quickly getting accustomed to these incredibly low interest rates. And if home values continue to rise and interest rates also rise, that's really going to be a double whammy on the buyer's buying power.
Mhm.
So that may start to slow things down in terms of values. But I mean, here in Kosciuszko County, home values year over year are up. The median home value is up significantly. The average home value is up pretty strong as well. I don't see really that going away. I mean, unless you either create a bunch more inventory,
Yeah.
or you take away the buyer demand, right? Supply and demand. If you take away the slow down the buyer demand, then maybe those home values are going to mellow out. But
But for the most part, you're thinking continue upward trajectory.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I just wanted to ask you that because I'm getting a lot of people asking that. I think people are getting a little bit, you know, impatient as far as the people who have been out there looking for a while.
Right. Well, and I think in a sense, the low interest rates might also be contributing to the higher demand. I'm sorry, the higher price point, right? Because if a buyer can afford more because their monthly payment is less, then it enables them to reach up into a higher price point, which it kind of drives that value up, or it
Yes.
drives the demand up in each price point. So
That's a good point. So it's like a cycle.
yeah, and I think again, if interest rates kind of go up, that might start to mellow out that demand. So.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. It actually leads right into my next question. And this is a softball here that I'm throwing at you because this one's pretty obvious, but honestly, people were asking this. Is now a good time to sell?
You know what? Is now a good time to sell? Is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to invest? I always advise all my clients is what's going on in your family situation? What's going on
Yeah.
in your situation? Maybe it's not a good time for you to sell. Maybe you need to refinance, lock into these low interest rates, sit on your house for a while. It just depends on your unique situation, is how I advise my clients.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, see, and I want to interrupt you because that's
yeah,
what I love about you, James, is that you didn't give the typical realtor answer, which is yes, everybody needs to sell right now because I have a lot of buyers. You're honest and you're just going to tell people anyway. That's one thing that I really like about you is that you're just going to tell people not what's good for you, but what's truly good for them.
well, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. If you want to sell your house, we'd be glad to help you.
Yeah.
But really, you got to just look at your situation. I mean,
Mhm.
I can remember a couple of people I've met with, and they've invited me over to their home and say, "Hey, we're thinking about selling our house. Well, we don't really know what to do." And after meeting with them and sitting down and listening to what their situation is and what their needs are, and looking at their house, sometimes it's like, you know what, guys, I would love to help you sell it, but I don't think you should.
Yeah.
I think you should make a few little tweaks here in your house, make it more suitable to what your needs are, and that's actually going to be better for you in the long run. And that right there has, I think, created a sense of, I don't want to say loyalty, but just people really appreciate that. Again, looking out for the best interest, because that's what we're here for, right? Like, our fiduciary responsibility is to them in their best interest. And it tickles me, man, if they're able to. I mean, I know how much I love our house,
Yeah.
and I don't want to move if I don't have to. So yeah, if there's, you just got to figure out what's best. I mean, are there advantages to selling right now? Absolutely. There definitely are. But it doesn't mean it's the right move, right situation for everyone.
Do you see a lot of people that, I don't want to say they sell even though they don't want to. I mean, obviously they have to want to, but do you see people that are maybe on the fence when they do see the market this hot, where they're like, hey, James, we were kind of on the fence, but man, do you think we can get, top dollar for our house right now? Are you seeing some of that action?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's some people who are like, hey, not really committed to selling, but if I could get X for my house,
Yeah.
I will sell. And I think it's important to know what that dollar amount is. What is that dollar amount that, hey, if someone came and knocked at my door and offered me X for the house, I would sell it. And then that's the number one piece of information. Number two, what is your house actually worth? What would a legitimate qualified buyer actually offer you?
Yeah.
And if those two things line up and it achieves your family's goals, whether that's 1 year, 5, 10, or 20, then I think you got to consider it. And because some folks are really surprised at what their home value is right now. Whether they think it's here, but it's actually here, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Sometimes people have an inflated value in what they believe their home is worth.
Does that happen a lot? I am guessing it maybe happens a lot because of sentimental value.
Yeah, I see it both ways.
Okay.
I think some folks have a pretty good, accurate idea of what their home is worth. I, um,
It's whatever Zillow says, right, James? I mean, Zillow is always right about.
Yes, it's absolutely what Zillow says. No, unfortunately, it's not. I mean, I wish it was that easy.
Yeah.
It'd make our lives easier, make everyone's lives easier, but it's not. If I had to, it's probably about a third, third, third. A third of the people are high on their value, a third are low, and a third are pretty accurate in what they think their house is.
Okay. Okay. I
Um,
just didn't know if people are sentimental, so they're just think it's
well, yeah, there's a
crazy.
couple of reasons. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why folks might have a sentimental value or an inflated value. One is sentiment, right? They have an emotional attachment to this home, and rightfully so, they should. The other time is when people have put a lot of their own sweat equity into it, and
Oh yeah.
you've invested a bunch of your own time, your own energy, your own money into it. Sometimes you start to think, oh my goodness, and it's not a conscious thing. It's just like a subconscious, hey, this property has to be worth so much more than my neighbor's who's
Yes.
newer and nicer. But because you've put your own equity, your sweat equity into it, then you think it's worth more than it actually is.
Yeah. No, I think that I was a little bit guilty of that in the sense of the house that we were in was a 100-year-old house. We were in it for 12 years. I mean, I could look in every room. I could probably cry right now, just like even talking about it, because so many memories
Yeah.
with my boys and, doing backflips with them, or in the living room and WrestleMania in the living room, jumping off the couches. And not only that, but we renovated every square inch of the house, replaced 32 windows in the house, an awesome patio area. And so when I actually did the math, I ended up basically recouping everything I put into it. But if you think about it, we got to use it. We got to enjoy it. So it's not like I broke even on it because I paid to use it too. So, but I totally know what you mean. To me, it would have been worth $500,000, but really I sold it for 225. So it appraised for 225. So the appraiser agreed it was only worth 225, but in my heart, it was worth $500,000 at least.
Yeah.
So I can see how that can happen to people. It's like somebody who restores a classic car or something, to them, it's priceless. They put it together themselves. So, okay. I promised you that, I knew this would be kind of, I can run long. I'm a little long-winded. So I did want to keep it somewhat short. Plus, if it's too long, people probably aren't going to watch it. So I did want to end with one question. So there's been several things about me that are about you that impress me. And we've touched on a couple of those. But I think that one of the things that definitely impresses me, and not just with you, but honestly sorry, I'm trying to shut off the alarm before it goes off here. One of the biggest things that impresses me, just about anybody and the people who I'm going to bring on this show, which aren't just realtors, it's really just spotlighting awesome people, people that are passionate about what they do. I think that they deserve to be spotlighted no matter, what profession they're in. But one is that I can tell that you really love your job. And so I don't know, I guess, can you tell me why you love your job?
Yeah, we are absolutely passionate about what we do. It is an honor to work with our clients. It really is. And I think what's really special about the opportunity that we have is people invite us into their homes, right? Or ask us to help them find a home,
Yeah.
which is the base point for our lives, right? It's where we establish our families. It's, where we create these memories. And they invite us into that sacred space that it is, and ask them to help them with not only typically their largest financial investment,
Yeah.
but also their largest kind of intimate investment as well. And it's just an honor to help them out. And sometimes, and I posted a video earlier this week, sometimes it's for a great reason, but also sometimes it's for a really hard reason.
Yeah.
But, again, we are honored to help out in any of those situations and to be trusted to advise them and advocate for them. So I think that's really why we're passionate, is because it's special and it's unique. And it's really important as well, for, like, yeah, large financial investment, or to make sure that you can accomplish what your family's trying to achieve. I can think of a couple families this year who have retired out of state, and it's really important for them to be able to sell, transition, get the purchase where they're going. Um, so that's why we're passionate about what we do, and really thankful for the opportunity to be of assistance to folks in our community.
No, that's awesome. And it, to be honest, it shows, and it's one of the reasons why, I don't hesitate for a second to send one of my borrowers to you. And I know they're going to be well taken care of, and they're not going to be kind of, I don't want to say persuaded, but, pushed into buying something that's not going to be good for them, pushed into selling when it's not time for them. I just know they're going to get honesty, which is awesome. But I do totally agree with you that I've only been doing, mortgages for 9 months, but that is one of the coolest things. And you get to know people, as a realtor more than I do. I mean, you're spending more time with them. But so I can imagine just the small bit of pride that I have when I'm able to bring them across that finish line and to see them excited, to get the keys. For a realtor, it's even more so, because you kind of, obviously you spend a lot more time with them. You probably hear a lot more about their personal story. And so the emotional impact of watching them, get the keys is probably even greater than what I have. So I do know what you're talking about, though. I get a little bit of that too.
It's a team effort, though. And we're big believers in team effort, working with great lenders, title companies, inspectors, attorneys, et cetera, to all get everyone to the end goal.
Yeah.
And we're big believers in that. And yeah, sometimes we celebrate. Sometimes I know clients are relieved, whether they're selling or they're buying. There's excitement, but also a sense of relief. But again, just joining them in their journey, being a guide for them and an advocate, and an advisor. It just means a lot to us to be able to do that. So.
That's awesome. Well, hey, in closing, how do people get a hold of you? I mean, I'm sure that they can Google you, but what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Oh, text, phone call, email are the best. Hit us up on Facebook or Instagram as well. My cell number is 574-551-6051. Text me, call me, 551-6051. Glad to be of help, or point you another direction if I'm not the best fit for you too.
And look at that. He gives out his cell phone number. So, I mean, that he's going to be good. You get his personal cell phone number. That's awesome, James. Thank you so much for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it. I know how busy you are. So
no, absolutely. Glad to be a blessing. If we can be a resource to anyone, just let us know.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Take care.
See ya.